What objects do you have in your SQL Server database? It's very easy to find out. Hi, I'm Philip Burton of filecats.co.uk. So let's have a look and see how we can find out what objects you have in your database. We can just go select star from sys.objects, and that's all it is. So we come up with this, which has all of your objects, each on a different row. Now there are some things it doesn't have. It doesn't have DDL triggers. They're contained in sys.triggers, for instance. What it does have is things like constraints, so check constraints, default, foreign key constraints, primary key, that sort of thing. But it has a lot more. If you have a look at these two columns, type and type description, you can see the sort of things that we get. So if I just say distinct type and type description and order by 1, 2, we can see that we have got check constraints. So to make sure that values in a particular column stay in the right number, so maybe between 10 and 100 or not later than today. Default constraints, what you put in if you haven't got information in that particular column, a null. Foreign key constraints and primary key constraints. Views, user tables, system tables, and much more. And this can be done very easily by looking at sys.objects. But there are a few things that you will maybe look at it going, okay, what on earth are these things? So we've got schema ID, where we can get a list of all of the schemas by select star from sys.schemas. And if we do that, we'll see that system schema ID 4 is sys, so the system one. Whereas if I scroll down on this top query, then number 7 is the production schema. And I've got AdventureWorks 2014 loaded, and you'll see that we've got things like the production schema, the purchasing schema, and so forth. Now, you could do a join between these two, but it's much easier to get the schema name because that's exactly what you write. So I will put schema underscore name. So the schema here is, if I go to the top, under schema ID. So that gives me a translation of what schema ID 5 is. It will come up as human resources. So I need to say what is it going to be. So schema name, let's call it. So I've put this right at the beginning so you can see it here in the left-handmost column. Now, some objects refer to other objects. So for example, this is a foreign key. You can see that quite clearly with the naming FK, but also the type. But it refers to another object. So if I say where the object ID is in 939.150.391, and this second one, and have a look at both of them, you can see that this foreign key, which is, as I say, a foreign key, has a parent ID of this one, which is a user table. So a foreign key constraint in a user table makes sense. So what I want is another column here which says what the parent object name is. Again, I could use sys.objects and do a join between the two versions of the table. But again, there's an easier way to do this. And what I can do is go object underscore name. And so if I put in this parent underscore object underscore ID, so this will be the parent object name, we now can see that this item has as its parent this item, the table. So if I was to order it by the parent object name, so we've got lots of nulls at the top, but then we can see lots of things relating to the employee table, which is part of the human resources schema. So let's go to human resources.employee. So we have got all of these constraints that you can see over here, some check constraints, some default constraints, and you can see in type and type desk description, you can see what they are. We've also got a primary key here. and we'll also have a foreign key right here at the bottom. So sys.objects, very easy to use, and if you then want to expand it with schema name and the parent object name, then you can use schema underscore name and object underscore name to retrieve those very easily without having to do one single join. Thank you for joining me in this video. If you like it, then please click the like button, and why not subscribe and click the bell next to it so you'll be notified of any new videos. Thank you for watching this, and keep learning.